Hello, my friends. Halina here. I just came home from a Speaking from the Heart workshop with Andrea Pennington, and there were some experiences there that I found so helpful. They changed me. I came home a little bit different than when I left, and I'm so grateful for that. And I wanted to share that with you. So the way this workshop was created, we all had a chance to present something just shortly and spontaneously without preparation, just to have an experience of how that was, and then the group would uh, give you the feedback of how they experienced it. And I was one of the last people that had this opportunity, and and shortly before that, Andrea asked me to speak about joy in my childhood home. And something difficult and strange happened, because I don't usually have problems speaking about joy, but the kind of joy that I speak about and work with and for is not the kind of joy that I experienced in my childhood home. There were, happy moments, and there were good times too. But just when she presented me with that task, if you will, that assignment, I went blank. I went completely blank, and I had no idea how I were to speak about that. So when it was my turn, sort of knowing that assignment, I was completely convinced that this was going to be a disaster, and it was okay. I it wouldn't kill me, but it was like, you know, this wasn't going to be good. But all I could do was like uh, go with it. So I stood in front of this group of 20-25 people, and it's not even the nervousness that I know from speaking or playing for people. It was a different kind of nervousness. Um, and and I look at them, and I see these 25 or so completely open, beautiful, shining faces. And and I just want to cry, because in that moment, in the state that I was in, I couldn't even contain that feeling of love that was in me for all these people. And at the same time, there was this other feeling of, I wish I had something to give you, but I don't know what to talk about. And very strange mixture of emotions. But what could I do? I just started talking. So I told them that I went blank, and I told them I didn't know what to talk about. And but I somehow, said some things, whatever I somehow felt inspired to say in that moment. And the whole thing took just, a couple of minutes, I guess. And then I, thanked them and sat down, and like completely convinced that this was the disaster, but now it was like over, and it was okay in that way. So Andrea asks the group, so, what feedback they have for me. And and there's silence, and perhaps that was just my subjective experience, that there was this long silence, and no one says anything. And I'm thinking, kind of, yeah, of course, what is there to say? There was, I really didn't give them anything. What can they say? And then the strangest thing happened, because then they started to say things. And the things they said, I couldn't believe my ears. They said they experienced constant love, they experienced presence, they experienced grace, they experienced oneness. I'm like, what? So, what I learned from this experience was that, first of all, that we don't know. I don't think it's just me, but we really don't know what we bring with us or not. We are so focused on our, how we feel, what we think it should be, how it's wrong or right. But while we're busy with all that, an energy is flowing, and that's what makes the difference, that energy. And in a sense, I experienced that's the same thing during the workshop. We learned so many things that I'm super grateful for, and I'm going to use and study. And we also had these opportunities to present each of us, and I learned so much from my own experience and from everyone else, and it was just beautiful. And at the same time, on top of all these good things, there was this massive energetical experience that I was having that there is no way I could put into words. It was like my energy was reading the energy working in that room and coming from Andrea, and also in that entire room. It was like there were levels of this teaching that were invisible and were very, very significant for the entire process. So that's one thing that I wanted to share with you is that, and I know others had similar experiences, is that we really don't have to be in any perfect state, and it's all we have to do is to be open. And as I said, I didn't even have a sense of being open to the energy of light or to the ground or to anything. I was just open to what was going on in me, and I was fairly open to the audience. Actually, I was seeing them, but otherwise, so I was that open, but not like open, like you're open in a meditation or something. But it was enough. That's the point. It was enough for the energy to flow. And that's what our energy and our soul and our light needs. It doesn't need us to be perfect channels or perfectly, in place and doing the right thing. It just needs us to be a little bit open. And the best way to be open really is to be open to ourselves. And then the rest follows. So that was really a big, big teaching for me, and an experience I'm very grateful for. And the other experience that I wanted to share with you today was something that happened in a completely different context, but also during this trip. Namely, when there was some waiting time. So when I was, for example, in the underground, waiting for a train, or when I was on the train and it was a pretty long trip to and from the airport, or when I was at the airport and waiting for the plane, or I wasn't at the airport and waiting for the baggage, I noticed how everyone else was waiting there, and how we keep ourselves busy. As soon as there's some waiting time, there's the smartphone, right? That reminded me that, oh, I wasn't doing anything, so I could just spend that time connecting. So I had these multiple experiences where, instead of doing whatever else I could do, I just connected with the inner light, and I grounded myself and I centered myself, just for my own health or something. And what happened each time, and that really took me by surprise, was that it changed my experience of the surroundings completely. Like this train or this airport or this room became so much more like it was like there was like light was almost physically being turned on, and everything became like more joyful and soft and beautiful. And um, I, well, I cannot put into words, but it was like the energy shift was significant. And I cannot say, of course, whether that affected anyone that also was in that space or was connecting with that space. I don't know that. But even if it just does that for you, that's enough of a gift. It's really a wonderful thing, and unless there's something really important going on Facebook or whatever or wherever, it can be so much more enriching and energizing and vitalizing and beautiful and connecting with the people around you. And who knows? Who knows if they were affected by the energy? Maybe there's something in them that also connected, uh, not because it has to, but just because it happens. Again, it doesn't take any perfection. It just takes a little bit of openness, and yes, practice too. So I really, really look forward to being able to offer that work to you as soon as I get this framework, this practical framework for it in place, and that's what what I'm working on these days. And then there will be a group where you can have that experience and see how it helps you shine your light with just a little bit of openness and imperfection. That's all we need, right? All right. Thank you for listening. And I wish you a wonderful week. And I'll be in touch. Bye.